This is WBSM On Demand. The time is now to talk about everything happening here on the South Coast and beyond. It's time for South Coast Now with Chris McCarthy. Call into the show at 508-996-0500 or send Chris an app chat message or open line voicemail on the WBSM app. It's the most interactive show on the South Coast. It's South Coast Now.
And I'm Chris McCarthy, and this is South Coast Now. And by the way, I am available to DJ anybody. If they have a party, a retro 80s prom, I'm available to DJ that. I will be available to DJ that. So, you can contact the station, and I'll be available. Anyway, so we're joined by Leon Corey here in studio. Leon, I really appreciate you making time for me this morning. Wrapping up your Board of Selectmen stint, and you're now moving on. You want to be a member of the Democrat State Committee. Talk to me about why you want to do that, what you want to do. What's your thought process here?
So, first of all, it was not... am I on? Okay, there we go. So first of all, this was something that was never on my radar. One day I'm sitting at home, got a phone call, basically asking me to consider it.
Yeah.
After a conversation, I said, sure, why not? This was before I had decided not to serve on the select board, so I would have been doing both.
Okay.
Because it's not like it's a heavy undertaking.
It's not.
And the things that I'm really passionate about are the things that I think I would be able to focus on here, like civil rights, human rights, younger people, getting younger people involved, more people involved in government, in public service, but also in holding people accountable. I think there are different challenges that we're facing, but I feel like people are facing them the same way. Like with regard to civil rights, people are out there, I think, getting on buses and boycotting and standouts and what have you. But I think there's a bigger fight to be had. It's more focusing on being willing to stand up. I've said plenty of times, it's not the when they go low, we go high era. It's not the turn the other cheek era. It's the be willing to stand up for yourself and say what you got to say, the truth, but be willing to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's something that, is particularly in the South Coast. It's the South Coast doesn't necessarily have the best reputation in the rest of the state. So a willingness to be able to fight for the people who need fighting for, the people in the inner cities, the people who are from underrepresented communities, those people. And so the things that I've done in Fairhaven, like the, haircuts and school supplies and stuff, I'll be able to do that on a grander scale. It just provides me with a bigger platform to be able to go out and help people.
So the seat on the Democrat State Committee, just for people who, obviously you know this, but people who don't know, it is a man and a woman on the state committee. You will represent the towns for the Democrats at the state committee level of Mattapoisett, Fairhaven, Acushnet, Dartmouth, and the city of New Bedford. You will represent that in conjunction with a woman who I believe will be reelected. I don't think she has an opponent. That's Lisa Lemieux.
Correct.
You get along with Lisa? You work well with Lisa?
Yeah, we get along very well.
Yeah.
We've spoken a few times. We met kind of more as a result of this. Like, we'd never met in person. We had interacted plenty online and kind of in the same circles. But we met, maybe a month or two ago. And we get along great.
The incumbent is Charlie Mata. He is... been there for a couple of terms at least. I really don't know him too well. I met him. He was at the tax meeting that Ian Abreu and Sean Oliver and Leo Choquette held in the city of New Bedford. He's a property owner in the city of New Bedford. What's he doing that you don't see him doing enough of, or what's he not doing that you would like to do? Why you, not him?
It's more whenever I've run, it's not a, me versus them. It's just about me. And so it's the things that I am passionate about, but also the energy that I have. I think I represent Charlie is a great guy. I don't really know him all that well. I'm sure he's wonderful. And I know he's very passionate about Mattapoisett Postal. But I think the future and the direction of the Democratic Party, I think, needs someone who's going to focus on where it's going. And where it's going is that, stand up and get out there and get younger people involved. Because you're just watching town and municipal politics. You're watching municipal government and what have you get older and older and older. We beg younger people to get involved, but they don't. And so, but nobody's really putting the energy behind it, putting the passion and the drive behind the words. And so, I had gotten involved, the way that I had gotten involved years ago on the 2008 Obama campaign in St. Louis was the fact that I was comfortable talking to people, but also I am willing to go. I was in St. Louis,
right?
When it was the number 2, murder city, and going in some of the toughest neighborhoods in the country, and I'm comfortable everywhere. I'll have that conversation because where I came from a, poorer inner city. I wasn't poor, but I say I'm poor. I was poor adjacent. I was close enough to know what poor feels like. And so I'm willing to have those conversations with everybody. Yep.
Providence.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Leon, this is an interesting time for the Democrat Party because that's the role you'll be in on the Democrat State Committee. So, what's very interesting, Leon, you may not realize this, most people don't. Usually, no Republican candidate wins any precincts in the city of New Bedford. Mm-hmm. In my lifetime, which is your district, no Republican presidential candidate, to include Governor Mitt Romney, who had been the governor of Massachusetts, he never won a precinct in the city of New Bedford when he ran for president. Ronald Reagan didn't win a precinct in the city of New Bedford. Donald Trump did. Donald Trump won a precinct in Ward 1. I always thought there was a really interesting fact to tell me that, is Bristol County realigning?
I think what Donald Trump was able to do was, which is what I'm trying to do, which is relate to people, understand what people, be a salesman, understand what people want to hear and drive that talk track.
Yep.
And the reality is, that's fine. And that's, if it gets more people involved, I am always in favor of getting more people involved. It's just a matter of getting people involved who understand, who are willing to stand up for whatever it is they believe in, and also be willing to kind of stand to support that. I was at a Democratic meeting, the New Bedford Dems meeting, and one of the conversations was people are afraid. A lot of, particularly older people on the left are afraid to say what they have to say or stand up for themselves because the other side is so passionate and is more assertive with their views. And the Democratic Party has always been just so passive. And so...
is that your opponent? Is that your opponent?
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe this just happened.
Listen, let's just explain it. Your opponent just came up and was looking at us through the window with his arms up in the air. So obviously I'll invite him on. I guess he's ringing the doorbell now.
I can't believe this just happened.
So it's not the first time someone's tried to invade the studio. But I'll give him time later. But anyway,
okay.
This is your time.
Yeah. So anyway, there's been a bit of this, so I'm not surprised. But anyway, and so somebody on the other side who's just willing to do the same thing, who's willing to kind of have that backbone and support, because the numbers are there. It's just a matter of fear.
Leon, one of the things I think you bring to the table, from a political standpoint, is you've won elected office, right? You got elected to the Board of Selectmen in the town of Fairhaven. You won pretty good margins too, here in the town of Fairhaven, and so you can show people how to get elected to office because you've done it.
Yes, and I can give people an honest perspective of what they're getting into. I think that was a little bit of there might be some shock, especially when you are a first, or you are in a community where you're not necessarily represented by the overall populace. I think some of the things that you might deal with, but yes, being able to help people without it being
so since this is radio, explain what you mean. Nobody can see you.
Oh, okay. I'm a 6'3", 300-pound black man.
All right. Thank you. Right.
And so just being able to kind of help people from a simple standpoint. I didn't have an entire campaign. I didn't have a whole staff. I was by myself, just out there knocking on doors and putting in the legwork. And so letting people know that they can do that if they have the desire, the passion, and the energy. They can get out there and they can get involved and they can actually make a difference in some way.
So we have Leon Corey here in studio. Leon, one of the interesting things I was thinking about as I was preparing to discuss this with you is that for the first time ever, you have a member of the Kennedy family, the longtime Massachusetts Democrat family, the Kennedys, who's running for president, but not as a Democrat. Mm-hmm. How do you, as a Democrat activist, handle that?
I think the lines politically have gotten really blurred. I think the spectrum for the Republicans and the spectrum for the Democrats is so wide that there's a little bit of crossover. And I honestly think people are running where they think they can win, where they think they can get in. I think there's a lot of that. I mean, we know historically, Donald Trump had been a Democrat, and so I think he saw where he recognized the opportunity. Yep. And so I think Kennedy is doing the same thing. I think he just felt like there was a better opportunity, or a member of the Kennedy family, saw the opportunity where he saw it, and so that's where he decided to go.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It is ballot access. So on the local level, you folks have, so the job of the state committee man is to recruit candidates. I don't think you have any problem with that. You have all the seats, right? I mean, you have all the legislative seats. You have the governor's seat. You have the attorney general's seat, the auditor, all the congressional seats, the Senate seats. So what do you have to do? And keeping in mind, those people are all getting older, as you pointed out from the beginning. So is that your challenge?
Making candidates represent us.
Okay.
And so, historically, we know a lot of, one of the reputations of politicians is that they get there and then they just forget, or they get comfortable, and you kind of run based on, you do things based on policy or based on perception, and not necessarily just doing what's right. Okay. And it's not easy to do what's right, because the truth isn't always nice, and the truth isn't always easy. You can get your teeth kicked in for telling the truth if people like, whoever it is that you're opposing. And so this is something where you let them know that the people want to hold them accountable, so that they actually do the things that are needed and help the community, that's out there, that's supporting them and that's working for them. It's keeping things grassroots, getting back to community government, where they are answering and they are interacting with the community that they are serving.
So you view your role is to hold the elected Democrats to the Democrat line?
Yes, but just to the people in general.
Okay.
I think, one of the interesting things about the committee seats is that you can be an independent and run for it. You don't have to actually be a registered member of the party. You can be an independent and run for either side. And so that's because I think that leaves, the room for you to just hold people accountable to whatever's right. Even when I ran for select board, I said the entire time, and I still say today, one of the great things about municipal government is that it's nonpartisan for the most part, at least in the smaller towns. In cities, that's different. But in the towns, it's mostly nonpartisan. And so it's about doing what's right and serving, based on, your morals and what you feel is going to be best for the community you serve, not for yourself, but for the people. And so that's really what it's about.
So you don't have to be a registered Democrat to be on the Democrat State Committee?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because I believe you have to be a registered Republican to be on the Republican State Committee. But that's different. Each party has their own rules. So, because right now you'll be on the Democrat presidential ballot.
Yes.
Right. You and your opponent will both be on there.
Yes.
So they get one vote. So it's either Leon Corey or your opponent who gets this job. On the Republican side, we have open seats as well this time around for state committee. We have Bob McConnell, who lives here in Fairhaven. You might know Bob.
I get along great with Bob.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah, we've already talked about if we both get in, like kind of doing some things together, some voting drives, getting younger people involved and stuff like that. Being able to kind of, blur that line and work together instead of everything being so, separatist. Where you can come together and work together and respect each other's differences and what have you, just being able to drive that.
No, I think I think you two will work well together. He's a very nice guy.
Yep.
And he's full of energy like you. And then we have Joanne Hodgson. She's going to take the female seat because there's no one running against her. So Joanne Hodgson is in. I think she would beat anybody that ran against her anyway. But Jill Usach is departing. So it'll be an open seat. So we'll have, if you get your ways, we'll have two new Republican and a Democrat state committee man new. And you guys have already agreed to work together.
Yep. Both live in Fairhaven. We met some time ago, actually, a couple years ago, when Bob was running for to oppose Mr. Strauss. And so we met then, had a great conversation, thought he was a super nice guy. And so we've kept in touch here and there. We text every now and then. We had already had that conversation that, where we can work together. Like my haircuts and backpacks, he was like, he would love to kind of jump in on that and, have that be something that we do together to just be able to go out there and help people.
No, Bob's a real decent guy. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about it because you're going to have the city of New Bedford, the town of Dartmouth, the town of Acushnet, the town of Fairhaven, and the town of Mattapoisett under your purview. Senator Montigny's district is what it is.
Yes.
And so we had Mark here yesterday, sat here for an hour. So we'll have we'll talk about the city of New Bedford, strong Democrat area, and other things as well. So stick around, folks. We have Leon Corey. He's a candidate for the Democrat State Committee. He's not running for the Board of Selectmen again. He's currently the chairman of the Board of Selectmen here in Fairhaven. Stick around. We'll be right back.
I've swallowed my pride for you, lived a life for you, but you still make me feel like a thief. You got me stealing your love away, 'cause you never...
I have to tell you something. You folks can't see what's going on here, and I want Leon to stay out of this because we have a very strange thing going on here at the radio station. We have his opponent, who was standing in the window before, is now parked his vehicle outside the radio studio, and where handicapped vans come to drop the children off, and the handicapped adults who go to the center right next door. Is there a police officer listening right now? Because this is really outrageous behavior. I don't know if it's an act of intimidation. Listen, I don't move, okay? You're not going to intimidate me. And I know you're not going to intimidate a 300-pound man sitting right here with me. This is bizarre behavior. Sitting right outside the doorway of the radio studio in his truck. And he's obviously listening because now he's leaving. This is a very bizarre behavior, folks. We never get this here at WBSM. He's now moved to another spot. So this is bizarre behavior that from the current member of the Democrat State Committee, Charlie Motta. But anyway, Leon, this is probably a good time to say that. Explain how you got into this and who is supporting you.
So, like I said, I've actually, there were several people who reached out. The chair, I don't know what the exact title is, whether it's executive director or whatever, but the chair of the Mattapoisett Dems has openly endorsed me, has been very supportive of me. There are other members of the Mattapoisett Dems who have been supportive of me. Her name is Nikki Demakis. She ran for select board a few years ago in Mattapoisett. Also, Representative Bill Strauss has been supportive. He openly endorsed me. There are a couple others coming out. Firefighters are coming out. They'll be announcing soon if If they don't, I'm going to look silly. But I can't look sillier than, never mind.
Can't look sillier than that. Your opponent out there stalking the radio station. It's bizarre.
And then Shane Burgo from New Bedford.
Oh, yeah, New Bedford, yeah.
Yeah, he has openly endorsed me. And so there are plenty of other people who have been very supportive, and I've had conversations with. They don't necessarily want to openly endorse in the event that, he does win, and then it becomes awkward. But, that said, let's just say
we obviously see how things can become awkward.
Exactly.
With Mr. Mata.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can, I guess, based on some of the behavior, maybe you can understand why people not
I can remember. I know exactly what you're talking about. This is bizarre. We've never had this happen.
I can't make this up. Like, I'm going to tell this story at a bar some night.
Right. Right.
Chatting with some friends.
Look, anyway, we have, so in New Bedford, you've got a city committee over there, some turmoil. You have the longtime chairman recently resigned. He's been very outspoken on the Palestinian situation in versus Israel. He's called into the program. He's a man of conviction, but he recently resigned. How do you put all these different factions together into a big party? And you'll have to manage these people, Leon, or help manage them.
Yeah. So I think, number one, one of the benefits that I'll have in New Bedford is the fact that I am a person of color who's not from here.
Okay.
And so I'll be able to, have conversations, knock on doors, meet people who didn't necessarily have, come together previously.
Okay.
And so I think, the real goal is to get people to just work together. There's no reason for people to be so combative and confrontational about, issues when the reality is you're both there you're all there because you care. And so whether maybe you're there, you've been there so long that you just gotten set in your ways or what have you, but being able and willing to have those conversations and broker those conversations between people so that they can work together and go forward, I think is going to be really important, particularly by doing it, via service, like by having, my wife and I were just talking this morning about having, about how to do some of the things that I did in Fairhaven, maybe moving them to New Bedford, for people who, for everybody, and to have a more central location, but also to serve more people, to be able to, bring more people together. One of the things, when I was a kid, there were so many things and so many opportunities for people to come together. There were, block parties and stuff like that. And I remember about a year ago, maybe, on the Fairhaven Select Board, they came forward. There was I forget what street it was, but they were trying to have a block party. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so foreign here. I can't believe it. Right. Like, I grew up. Block parties were a thing, and you had so much fun, and you got to see the people in your neighborhood and come together, and it helps community policing. It helps, the schools. It really creates that, although it was kind of a terrible moniker, and it became a bit of a hashtag. But the reality is, like, growing up, it took a village. Mm-hmm. It was, you got in trouble out in the street. Somebody told your mother.
Right.
And there's no reason. It's not like we are that removed. I'm not that old. And so
no, you're not.
There's no reason that we have to be so far from that. I love that the younger generation is more willing to stand up for themselves and and represent and tell their truth. But on the other side of it, I think it is so. I think being able to get those people involved and kind of bringing people together so that you can have that energy and harness it and put it towards something good and useful and and right. Is awesome.
Folks, we're going to take a couple phone calls now. We have some people on hold. We had people on hold for a little bit. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Is that me?
That's you, Johnny One Note.
Hey, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, my friend?
I not bad. I just went by there and waved to you.
I saw you.
Silver car. I had no idea what was going on over there. Well, I just want to let the public know. Like I said, I just went by there and drove by there, and I see this dude in there sitting at your desk with a white shirt on.
Right.
And he's got about 4 feet between the shoulders over there.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a big guy. I mean,
I've never seen that guy before in my life, but he's a big dude. I'll tell you what, I ain't going to go stand in your window and try and intimidate that guy at all, man. Whoever wants to do that better have their head examined. I'll tell you that right now.
I think for a lot of reasons, right? Ought to have his head examined.
For a lot of reasons.
Nobody comes in. When I have my guests, everybody's going to get their turn. We have all different people competing for races all different time here in the studio. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. Johnny, you're a regular listener here, regular caller. Have I ever announced on the radio that someone's opponent is glaring through the window or parked out front?
Never. That's a first. And so I just want to put my 2 cents. If that guy's still there and he wants to wait for your guests to come outside, I want to go back there. I want to watch this thing.
It'll be over quick.
No.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't mess with that dude.
No, he's a big guy.
Anyway.
Very nice guy,
put
though.
that 2 cents in. You guys have a nice day. I'll be talking to you.
Thanks, Johnny.
Very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you. So it's a distraction. But so you have a big tent, the Democrat Party. So you have, for instance, I would put maybe more conservative type Democrats in the form of Leo Choquette, Scott Lang, even Mark Montigny. Really, is relatively. He calls himself a liberal, but I would say that he's more of a financial oriented guy. But you have a financial background as well.
Yes, went to University of Chicago, Graduate School of Business, all now known as Booth. And, for the MBA program there, and one of my concentrations was finance.
So the, hold on. Oh. So we've now got full up phone lines.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so let me see what we do here. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Diane Hahn. I live here in Fairhaven.
Oh, hi, Diane.
Hi. I have a statement to make, and also, Leon, I would love to help get younger voters, people involved. Younger people can register to vote at 16 years of age. And I would love to be out there in the community and sparking that interest in them, and whatever I can do to do that, I will. And Leon, you also know I'm a huge activist agitator, and I do stand-outs whenever I can to combat whatever prejudices are going on. And as far as the man outside of the window, the gentleman, and I use that term now loosely, should be ashamed. It's never happened before, I don't think, because you've never had a 300-pound black man in your studio. And I just think that's
not true. Leon's been here before. Leon's been here before.
No.
Yeah.
Not Leon has been. I'm talking about the guy outside who was stuck in
I understand what she's saying.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Leon, if you want to help me get 16-year-olds registered to vote, I will love to do that.
Thank you, Diane.
Hey, thanks for the call. I do appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Yeah, look, like I said, this has never happened before, and I don't know how I say it. I don't know if I appreciate it, but it's certainly amusing because I don't intimidate, and neither does Leon. I wondered if this was going to be a good segment or not. I mean, anyway, here we go. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Chris?
Yes, sir. You're on the air.
It's Rick Souza from
Rick, what's happening?
Quite a few things. I have one question for you, Chris.
Okay.
And I hope you answer it honestly.
You won't be able to. You won't know either. You won't know either way.
Why is that?
Well, because what I. Anyway, just go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay. I grew up in a very political household. But there were no blacks that we voted for. not because they were black, they just weren't running.
Well, that's true. You probably, I think it was Ed Brooke was the first statewide elected official Republican U.S. Senator, Attorney General first in the state of Massachusetts. That was in the 1960s. So I don't know when you first started voting, but you now got some black people elected in Fall River.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't.
You did, I believe. You had a city council, right?
Well, JCL Kurt was.
We no longer have Trot Lee on the council.
Oh, he's not on the council anymore. Okay, but
No, he went back to his job. He's working for Stepping Stone.
okay. But he was elected over there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
he was elected. And at the time, I was working for Mayor Jazel F. Correa, and I was told that Trot Lee was coming. Now, I don't know how you're going to take this or not, but we were holding signs at the Globe Four Corners, even though there's 5.
Right. That's Fall River for you.
And people started saying around me while I was holding Jazel signs, oh, Trot Lee's here. And I was looking for an Oriental guy.
Okay.
Now, would you be if that was the case?
Oh, because
And
the
you
last
had
name was Lee.
You had no inclination of what the person looked like.
Oh, you know what's funny?
All you knew was by his name.
The
Trot
last
Lee.
name. So maybe, except that I know some Irish people named Lee. So they live in Mattapoisett. So I mean, yeah, I think that's interesting, right? Because Lee is generally associated with Asian people, and
Yeah,
all right, I don't think that's wrong. I mean, it's just
Somebody, no, I didn't. I felt stupid.
well, yeah.
But people were pointing
Maybe
and
the first
saying, there's Trot. And I'm saying, which one is he? And they said, the black fellow there. And I was totally caught off guard. The initial reason I called was, I don't know, Chris, if it's changed in you. I can honestly say that it hasn't in me. Why that is, I don't know, Chris. If I'm walking in my neighborhood, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I can catch just by the turn of my head that there are 3 black fellas walking in back of me. Why is it that bothers me, Chris?
Well, I don't
Why
know.
Why is it that 3 Orientals wouldn't bother me? Why is it that 3 whites wouldn't bother me?
I don't know. I don't know, Rick. I don't, and we could talk about it some other time. I got Leon's here in the studio, and I want to give him an opportunity to talk about his program and things like that. And I can't explain why you. Maybe I'm assuming it's how you grew up and things like that. He's a nice enough guy, and
But I could actually respond to that.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think one of the things is the lack of exposure. You know, I think, and I think you are multiple steps ahead of a lot of people because the fact that you recognize that and you recognize that as a thing. I think so many people are actually in denial and don't recognize that is is what we now call a microaggression. It doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, but what it does is because you acknowledge it, it's something that can be worked on because it's exposure. It's seeing more people. It's when I was a kid, I didn't see any people of color, in professional environments.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And so it's, seeing these people in different environments and doing different things than what you see on television and what you're historically used to. That's all it is. And so I want to bring more people together because everything is so segmented. New England in general is very...
But you got elected here in Fairhaven after only living here a few years.
Mm-hmm.
How many years were you here? When you bought a house, you and your wife moved here?
Yeah, about, I think it was 4 or 5 years.
And you got elected to the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
I mean, so that is people looked at your experience. They met you. You knocked on a lot of doors, so you weren't hiding.
No.
You know, you're a big guy. You're a gregarious guy. You're got a good education. So didn't surprise me that people voted for you.
No, eventually. But I think, when you look at it, like my father wouldn't be able to do that. My father's gone to prison, and you know,
Well,
and
yeah,
I think
once you go to prison, you can't get elected.
Well, no, but I mean, like, you know, who he is, he doesn't have the same, although he has a lot of similar traits. Like, there's something inherent, so it's not a one-sided thing. It's that there's something inherent in you that makes you feel compelled to act a certain way as well, and so you're both responding to each other, and so that's why I'm here, because I'm trying to bridge that. I'm trying to bring people together. But you bring them together by pointing out the differences and acknowledging those differences so that you can have the conversation. We got to stop hiding from it.
And the similarities.
Yes.
Right?
Right. But by pointing out the differences and having that conversation, then you find out that there's more that unites us than divides us.
Right.
And so, but you don't pretend that they don't exist. Tackle those things and you have those conversations. It was something that I really did a lot in college.
The fact that you went to college sets you apart from most people on South Coast, regardless of their skin color.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I understand.
The fact that you have a graduate degree from Chicago sets you apart, makes you unique from regardless of your skin color, because you know what the demographics are. Mm-hmm. In fact, very few people go to Boston College and Chicago and get the MBA from Chicago. It sets you apart from everybody else.
Yes, it's not unique. This is known for being a very blue collar community.
Right. Yeah. 508-996-0500. We got some people on hold, but we have gone a little bit long, so we're going to take a quick break. It'll be pretty quick, but I'm Chris McCarthy. We'll be right back. Leon, one of my my listeners who texted me has a question. So there's a man and a woman on the state committee. You have a male seat and a female seat. With the rise of transgenders and things like that, has the Democrat committee, which is obviously really open to that, have they considered how they deal with that? Do you know?
I have no. That is a good question.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine, you know, your gender. If it's gender based, then your gender is your gender, and so, you know, whatever, you know, if you are a male or if you are a female, like you will go for the seat accordingly.
All right. No, I think I get what you're saying. So if you identified as a woman,
right, you
would run for the female seat.
Right.
Okay. All right. So if you don't make it this time, you can run against Lisa next time.
No, I am.
You have to make a lot of changes in your life.
Yes, I am he, him. And you know, I respect everyone's pronouns, and so if I don't make it on, you know, maybe I'll run again, maybe not. But that doesn't mean I won't be involved. I am still that kind of person who just wants to make things better.
So people are voting right now because it's early voting. You're on the presidential ballot.
Yes.
That's where you are. Presidential ballot in the towns of Mattapoisett, Fairhaven, Dartmouth, Acushnet, and the city of New Bedford.
Yes.
You've been endorsed by Bill Strauss.
Yes.
Who represents a lot of those communities. You have been Shane Burgo, partner of yours. You guys work together. He's got a big vote in the city. Last time he was second place in the city council election. Yep. So second top vote getter in the city. So you want everyone to get out there and vote for you. If they're a Democrat or if they're unenrolled, they can pull the presidential ballot, right?
Yes. If you are an independent, you can vote for the Democratic seat.
So, how do you think? Because again, Maura Healey is the governor now. She's a Democrat. You guys have the U.S. Senate seats. You have the congressional seats. But how do you think you're prepared if someone decided they weren't going to run again? Do you think the Democrats have done a good job, or would you like to build up the bench a little bit more?
I would certainly like to build up the bench with people who actually represent, you know, who's out there, who represent the community that they're looking to serve.
Okay. Let's take a couple of calls.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's happening, Ray?
Hey, so I got a question. In regards to the statewide Democratic Party, I see a lot of embracing of socialists and socialist activists, and as well as communist activists. We saw just a little while ago, we saw city committee people marching with Socialist Party up Union Street. And I think that kind of, it obviously sours with a whole host of different people. How do we rectify that and pretty much eliminate, because I believe it should be eliminated from the Democratic Party, anybody who embraced the socialist Marxist agenda and economic model as well as the communist model? How do we rectify that at the statewide level as well as the local level?
I mean, I don't know that I've seen people marching with the Socialist Party.
Oh, yeah, they were huge, all down Union Street.
Really?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Well, that wouldn't be me. So, that, I mean, I can account for me, and I can account for, like I said, holding people accountable. I do it. I get kicked around for it, but I still do it. And so, yeah. I don't necessarily, I'm sorry, I don't know how to address it because
you haven't seen it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So it was the Party of Socialism and Liberation. They had a huge march down Union Street.
Okay.
And it was many members of the Democrat Party were help organizing that march, including Lisa Lemieux.
Oh, wow.
He used to be this gentleman used to be in that part of that crowd, so he knows what he speaks.
Okay. Yeah, no, I believe him. I would have to be more informed in order to. I don't speak on things that I'm not informed on, so I do have to apologize on this one.
Thanks, Ray. I think it's a great question though, because I think that's causing a lot of turmoil within the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
Is people who really are aligned with a foreign ideology more than the old Roosevelt Democrats. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We have Leon Corey here in studio. Stick around. Welcome back to the station. I'm Chris McCarthy, and we have Leon Corey here finishing up his hour. He's running for the Democrat State Committee, which is a body that governs the state party here. It's millions of dollars, and you're certainly up to the task. You represent the town. You will represent the towns of Dartmouth, Fairhaven, Acushnet, Mattapoisett, and the city of New Bedford. You've got a number of endorsements. Let's run through those again.
Yes, Mr. Shane Burgo, Bill Strauss, Representative Bill Strauss, firefighters, Nikki Demakis from Mattapoisett. And then some other quiet endorsements as well.
People vote for you by pulling the presidential ballot for the Democrat, and then you'll be on there as well.
Yes, I am not the incumbent, so make sure you pay attention. And the name is Leon Corey.
Right.
Be there, fill in the bubble completely, please.
So how's the campaign been so far? Is this a regular occurrence that you're being stalked?
I can't say I've ever been stalked before. And so, okay. So yes. So this is something that's never happened before, but you know what? Like I will stand up for, the truth.
Right.
The truth isn't always, like I said, the truth isn't always comfortable. The truth isn't always nice, but the truth is the truth.
The Fairhaven police are now interviewing your stalker.
Yeah.
Just so the listeners at home can keep up with this, the Fairhaven police have responded, and they're here interviewing the stalker. So bizarre.
So yes. So I hope this isn't what I have coming. Otherwise, my wife is going to kill me, and this will be a very short thing.
Well, we'll ask her not to please kill you now that you. I mean, I don't think you have to be worried about her so much as maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. We've never encountered that here at WBSM. It's an unfortunate reality, but this is, it's a bad look for the Democrat Party, right?
It is a bad look for an individual.
I like that, Leon. I like that. I appreciate that. All right, folks, listen. Leon's going to leave here, and we do appreciate him coming in. And I apologize. It's got nothing to do with me, but we're a very big part of the community, and some parts of the community just can't handle that.
Yes.
So, again, folks, I'm glad you stayed tuned. We're going to have something less dramatic in the next hour, but we'll go back to taking your phone calls at 508-996-0500. Leon, again, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
You obviously the change is needed.
Absolutely.
Change is